The president intends to take the independent panel's Phala Phala report on review in court, and MPs, of course, are going to be voting on this report tomorrow. Let's discuss all of this with the political analyst Lukhanyo Vangqa, as well as, of course, what's going on inside the ANC. Lukhanyo, good afternoon. Welcome to today. There's a lot of stuff we try and get our minds through. On the one hand, you've got the legal process. On the other hand, you've got a parliamentary process in terms of its own ways of handling matters like this one. And then you also have, thirdly, the ANC that's sitting in its National Executive Committee meeting deciding what are the steps to take going forward. Of these processes, in your view, is the NEC the most critical one at this moment?
Good afternoon, Praten. Thank you for inviting me. Yes, the NEC of the ANC, or the ANC's internal processes, form the critical aspect of this particular process because of the sort of weight the ANC carries inside our democratic processes and also inside of our parliament. I think they have about 237 MPs, which is about 57%. So what the ANC says in parliament, that goes, and that becomes the decision of parliament. So the ANC's processes now to determine what will happen tomorrow, whatever decision they take today, parliament will just be a conveyor belt for that decision, to finalize that decision. So yes, parliament, ANC processes are the most critical, and I think that's why everyone is waiting on tenterhooks to see what the decision is going to be from the NEC.
Yeah, is it far-fetched to imagine that part of this meeting will be to strategize how to manage any fallout? Because we don't know what the decision finally will be, whether they'll recall the president or he'll carry on. But is it far-fetched to imagine it's going to be a very tumultuous period until the 16th of December?
I wouldn't think so, but then the ANC's NEC is a bit too big for it to be discussing strategy and tactics at that particular level. So some of these things are usually left off to the officials or to the NWC, which are much smaller structures of the ANC. This one is for the key, sort of strategic direction that the ANC is going to take with regards to what happens tomorrow. And as we've heard from this weekend's NWC, recommending that the president should take this report on review, and the NEC should, support a process wherein their MPs sort of start off this report and say, wait for the president to take it on review, and then we'll see what the finalization of that process is before Parliament can take the report forward. In that way, rejecting the current report that was produced by the expert panel.
Yeah, so how likely, therefore, is it that the status quo will remain in terms of leadership?
It's very likely that the status quo will remain, Praten. You can see that the ANC is pulling from its Ngandla playbook with the Stalingrad tactics of take it on review so that you kick the can down the road while you put in other political processes that will be able to show up the support and also the power of the president within the organization and also within parliament. And then a three-line whip is used to make sure that all MPs are aligned to the decision that is made, and whoever doesn't align with that decision is then labeled a rebel MP. So that's classic Ngandla playbook that we've seen. So President Ramaphosa will probably survive as long as President Jacob Zuma did. I remember he survived about 8 to 9 motions of no confidence as a result of this playbook that they are rolling out, led by Gwede Mantashe today.
And if my memory serves me right, it was that experience partly that has contributed to Parliament adopting a different process in any party trying to unseat a sitting president. Now, the president is taking this on legal review, this matter on judicial review. He's going to the Constitutional Court. We're still waiting at this hour, Lukhanyo, to find out when they'll be handing in that application. Should we anticipate that the Concord will treat this as a matter of urgency, as an exceptional case that needs its immediate attention, or should we expect a later date?
The Concord has not been well known to treat matters very urgently, Praten. If you recall, with last year's July riots, when it was called upon to give a decision before the execution of the warrant of arrest on President Jacob Zuma, they were not able to meet those deadlines, and something similar as well with the elections, if you recall. they also came in a bit late with that. So they don't have a good history of being very, tedious with these things. They tend to take a bit of time. So they should do that. But I think the president as well just makes the matters that much more difficult, because there are many hurdles now that he'd have to jump if he goes directly to the court. The first one is the issue of direct access. The second one would be the issue of urgency. And all of those hurdles are for the president to jump, because he's the one that is going to be the applicant. So it's not as if he had just gone directly to the Western Cape High Court, wherein he would just have to prove a matter of urgency and doesn't have to jump the additional hurdle of direct access.
Yeah, so it's still going to, that still has to be established. Okay, now politically, how damaging is this current development for the ANC and for the president?
It's quite damaging, Braden, and I think the ANC underestimates just how damaging this is, in the same way that they underestimated the Ngandla issue and how damaging it was to their reputation as an organization that is able to hold its executives accountable and all its members accountable. I think there is an overestimation as to the popularity of the president to be able to withstand any storm that might come his way. And this matter, continuing the way it's doing, is that it's going to continue for the next 2 to 3 years if they continue to defend him in this way. And for 2 to 3 years, the ANC will be pushing against this wave of revelations that are related to the Phala Phala scandal when they take the matter. Because if tomorrow they don't vote in favor of this thing, you can foresee EFF doing what they did with the Ngandla report, of approaching the courts to be able to overturn that decision of Parliament on the basis of irrationality. And they might succeed and come back. The Section 89 committee comes in, and all of these revelations and scandals, and we get into the more private aspects of the president's personal finances, and more scandals might be able to envelop from that issue and engulf the ANC in more scandal than it really needs. And I think that will just precipitate its demise towards 2024.
Thank you very much for your time and insights this afternoon on Today. That's Lukhanyo Vangqa. He's an independent political analyst. Now,